Briggs. Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Midwest Bank is now hiring in Lincoln. They have multiple banking positions open and are looking for dynamic individuals passionate about helping others and building relationships. With a family-friendly culture, competitive benefits, and unique perks, Midwest Bank is a great place to start a new career. Apply today at midwest.bank. Midwest Bank is an equal opportunity employer, member FDIC. 93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Attention all Wings fans. Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays, enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and they're having the biggest hail sale they've ever had. A huge opportunity is at your front door right now. Some of these cars we're fixing, some we're not, and some it's totally up to you. New Sierra starting at $15,000 off list. New Canyons at $8,500 off list. New body styles on the Acadias, $3,000 off list. You need to hurry as there's going to be a lot of people heading to Louisville. Check us out at koppelcars.com. Stock numbers G121492. G187747 and G196599.
I tried to hide my cigarette smoking. Then I was rushed into emergency surgery to repair the damage smoking did to my heart. It shocked everyone because they thought I was healthy. Yet because I smoked, I had a severe heart condition that nearly killed me. My tip is, you may be able to hide your smoking from the world, but you can't hide from the damage smoking does to your body.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show. All right, the mic's hanging low today, Jackson. Can the fine folks at home hear me well? Can they still hear me well?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
All right, glorious. Maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe I should lower it even more so they can't hear me at all. What do you think of that?
No, I think it's good. I don't know why that's all right.
I'm really glad you didn't agree with me on that sentiment, so I appreciate that.
No,
I feel
good.
better heading into this week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the Adam Carriker Show. What you're going to get, you know it, unique insight, unbridled honesty. Producer Jackson and I, at least for a few more days, we're going to have a whole lot of fun in the process. Husker sports, college football, and sports in general. Today's show, as always, is loaded. Nebraska baseball, rough end to the season. Nonetheless, we'll look back the season as a whole. We'll look back at the weekend as well. And man, it's hard. I mean, the way it ended was rough, obviously, losing, 17-1 to Oklahoma, losing 2 out of 3 at the regionals, both games to Oklahoma. Not the way you want to end it. But the season as a whole, will we define it as a success? Was it good? How do we feel about it? We'll talk about that, all those good things today. Nebraska football recruiting update. It is a heavy month of recruiting in June. It is interesting because a few years, it wasn't that long ago, National Signing Day in February was the creme de la creme, and then you were pretty much mostly done. Like that first Wednesday in February is like a national holiday if you're a college football fan. Then you get the early National Signing Day in December. Then you get the transfer portal. Then you get post-spring transfer portal. Then you get pretty much recruiting nonstop now. Not a bad thing. It's just I'm always intrigued and interested to see how things evolve and change over time. If you're someone like me and you love Husker sports and you love college football, you love this because there's constantly things to be following and talking about. And if you have a show, it's great content. But even if I didn't have a show, man, it's just intriguing stuff that really never stops. And if you're a fan of this, you absolutely love it. So we're going to give a recruiting update as well. And Nebraska officially has a new punter. I was going to say to boot, but, bad pun intended, not pun intended, but to boot. We officially have a new punter to boot. All right, let's go back over the weekend. You look at Friday. Nebraska plays Oklahoma. All right, unable to come away with the victory. Lose 4-7 in baseball in the Chapel Hill Regional. All right, bounce back on Saturday. Get the win versus Holy Cross. Beat them 4-1 on Sunday. Unfortunately, lose to the Sooners again, 17-1. As we kind of go game by game here. All right, going back to the opener versus Oklahoma. Nebraska dropped the opening game of the Chapel Hill Regional with a 7-4 setback against Oklahoma on Friday. All right, at Boshamer Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Case Sanderson went 2 for 3 with a double and a home run. Max Butenbach drove in 3 runs with a triple, while Riley Silva, Devin Nunez, and Gabe Swanson tallied a hit apiece. All right, Jackson Brockett dropped to 4-4 on the season after allowing 3 runs on 6 hits with 4 strikeouts and a pair of walks across 3 1/3 innings of work. Casey Dias recorded 2 outs that allowed a run before Caleb Clark surrendered 3 unearned runs on 2 hits across 2 2/3 innings of relief. All right, now, as I mentioned, Nebraska, who finished the season 33-9, all right, lost the opener against Oklahoma in the regional. They get a chance on Saturday against Holy Cross. Ty Horn allowed 1 run across 7 1/3 innings. When you lose, just to pause and kind of briefly think about things for a second. When you lose your ace, really before the season's even getting going at all, you look at a sophomore, an underclassman, a guy like Ty Horn, who all of a sudden needed to be asked much more of. Much more was needed from him. And he stepped up in the Big Ten championship game. He stepped up in the regional versus Holy Cross. All right, this is a young guy, You have to be excited about the future he has with Nebraska. All right, Ty Horn allowed 1 run across 7 1/3 innings, and Caden Brumbaugh slugged the go-ahead homer in the bottom of the 5th as Nebraska kept its season alive at the time with a 4-1 victory over Holy Cross in an elimination game on Saturday. Nebraska scored 4 runs on 10 hits, while Holy Cross scored 1 run across 5 hits. On Saturday against Holy Cross, Devin Nunez had a career day at the plate, going 4 for 4. Not too shabby, with a pair of doubles and a run scored. Brumbaugh went 2 for 4 with a 2-run homer, while Hogan Helisko went 2 for 3 with a homer, 2 RBI, and 2 runs scored. Max Butenbach and Rhett Strokes tallied 1 hit apiece for the Huskers on Saturday afternoon. Again, Horn pitched really well, allowed just 1 run across 5 hits, 7 1/3 innings to improve to 4-4 on the season. And you could tell he got better and better as the season went along, which is what you hope for, what you'd expect, but what you'd like to see from a young pitcher. Again, exciting. I don't want to say high expectations, but exciting stuff for him going forward in the future here at Nebraska. Let's see. The sophomore surrendered a walk and struck out 6 batters. Luke Broderick collected his 13th save of the season after dealing 1 2 shutout frames, 1 2/3 inning shutout frames to move into a tie for 3rd most in a season by an NU reliever. Broderick is the first Husker with 13 saves in a season since Colby Gomes in 2019. So again, Nebraska stayed alive on Saturday, taking down Holy Cross. Now they get to Sunday. Okay, things don't go exactly the way that we'd like. Nebraska saw its season end with a 17-1 loss to Oklahoma in an elimination game on Sunday afternoon. Nebraska, 33-29, their final record on the season, scored 1 run on 6 hits and 5 errors, while Oklahoma, 37-21 on the season, had 17 runs on 18 hits and an error. Riley Silva and Hogan Helisko pieced together 2 hits each, while Gabe Swanson went 1 for 3 with a double. Dylan Carey recorded a hit and drove in Nebraska's lone run on Sunday. Will Walsh fell to 4-8 on the season after allowing 7 runs, 5 earned on 6 hits across 2 innings. Tucker Timmerman surrendered 2 runs, 1 earned on 3 hits while recording 1 out. Drew Christo made his 31st appearance, climbing to a tie for 6th most by a Nebraska reliever in a season all-time. The senior pitcher pitched 3 1/3 innings in relief before Jalen Worthley and Gavin Blachowicz combined to deal the next 2 1/3 innings. TJ Coates took the mound in the top of the 9th inning, retiring the Sooners in order. Oklahoma, I can go through all these. They had a lot of hits, 18, a lot of runs, 17. Things didn't go our way. The season ends for Nebraska. I don't know that we need to dive into each and every one of those stats as we're going along. Again, you look back at the season as a whole. Well, let's start by looking back at the regional, Jackson. So obviously it doesn't go the way we want. Okay, lose 2 out of 3, ousted by Oklahoma. You look back at the regional. We'll just specifically look at that, and then we'll take a broader retrospective look back at the whole season. What are your thoughts on how the regional went, how things unfolded for Nebraska this past weekend?
Yeah, it's certainly disappointing to obviously they didn't really keep the energy going from the Big Ten tournament. That's kind of what I thought was going to happen, hopefully. You know, as a lot of the announcers were coming in, Nebraska was one of the hottest teams going in this tournament, the team that you probably didn't want to play because they're on a very hot streak. That obviously didn't keep going, did not carry over from the Big Ten tournament. So it was a little disappointing. That first game, okay, you kind of get out of it, but you didn't get, whooped. So you kind of felt, okay, whatever, let's go in, let's beat Holy Cross. And you rally in that game. It was kind of close for a good portion of the game, but you rally, come back in that game, you end up winning. And then you get into OU the next day and you just get behind. And that one, you're getting your butt whooped. To get 17 runs put up on you and only respond with 1 is definitely not the outcome that you wanted. So the region as a whole definitely needs to go into the offseason with some work. I think this hopefully will motivate the guys, especially the fact that it was Oklahoma, a historical rival to the university. So yeah, just an overall disappointing tournament appearance for Nebraska baseball.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's the way it went. You would have hoped, like you said, to keep the momentum going, one of the hottest teams in the country, playing so well towards the end of the year. Obviously did not go our way. When you look across the past 2 decades, Nebraska has participated in 10 different regionals. They're 1-9 against teams that are currently in power conferences during those appearances in the NCAA tournament. I'm pausing because the scores haven't exactly been what you would like. Been outscored on average, if we're going to round here for simplicity, 9-4 in those games. So 1-9, not a great winning percentage. The scores of those games are 9-4. If you want to get more specific, it's 9.1 to 3.8. So those are things that got to be addressed going forward. Real quickly, going to look at our good buddies, Jackson Creighton. All right. There's actually a big-time Creighton family on one of my daughter's soccer teams, so I have to be careful when I go after Creighton now. Are we going to sit next to each other at the game? No, I'm just kidding. They've been great. But Creighton, all right, they are a Nebraska team, so I love talking Nebraska sports team. So they're 43-16 overall in the year, had a very good season. Their season comes to an end in their regional as well. They, let me see here, took on Kansas, number 25 ranked Kansas, by the way, in Fayetteville, Arkansas, the Fayetteville regional, beat them 11-4 right out the gate. Took on number 6 Arkansas, lost 1-12. Stayed alive against North Dakota State, 11-10 on Sunday, and then lost again to Arkansas. All right, the eventual regional champs there in Fayetteville, 3-8 on Sunday. So Creighton had a very good baseball season in their own right. Always have good basketball teams, always have good baseball teams, always have good volleyball teams. UNO was coming up. They made the basketball tournament this past year. Their baseball team had some big wins this past year, beat LSU at one point early on in the season. So there's a lot of good teams and a lot of good baseball teams forming and developing and growing and improving within the state of Nebraska. All right. So what are your thoughts on baseball growing throughout the state of Nebraska? Okay, I personally, Like, I root for all Nebraska teams. But I'm being honest. I wouldn't mind if Creighton and UNO weren't as good as much as I root for Nebraska teams if Nebraska themselves just got that much better. Not exactly how it works, but it's growing across the board. What are your thoughts on Creighton having a good season, UNO getting better and better in all their sports?
I think it's great. I have a different look at it. If Nebraska and Creighton or Nebraska UNO, if we aren't playing, I'm probably going to root for them. That's kind of who I am. I kind of will root for them. I'm more of a basketball. When it comes to Creighton basketball, that's when I get a little bit more fired up in terms of the fan base. But I think it's great. I love seeing the Nebraska, teams do well across all sports. But yeah, I kind of agree with that. I would love to see Nebraska be like just one step further than them and kind of bringing them up with Nebraska as well. I agree with that. But it's always great to see Nebraska kids, Nebraska schools doing well. Can't lie about that.
No, I agree with you. I've mentioned that before, mostly during basketball when Nebraska's playing Creighton in basketball. Like, I don't mind rooting for Creighton at all. I root for Creighton when they're not playing Nebraska.
Yeah.
And I did say there was a limit to that rooting because when we lived outside of Denver, and I've said this before, I could have cared less about the Broncos. People were like, oh, you root for the Broncos, you're rooting against the Broncos. Don't care. Have no tie. Could not care less. In fact, the only interesting random tidbit of a stat here, I played against 31 of the 32 NFL teams. Okay. Obviously a bunch of them multiple times. The only one I never played against was the Broncos.
Huh.
Ironically. It was the one team I never actually played against.
That's crazy.
In a regular season game. But that's neither here nor there. Then the Broncos win that Super Bowl. What was it, 2015 or whatever? Okay, Von Miller, Cam Newton, the fumble. Von Miller has that great game, MVP of the game. I still remember that draft because Cam went 1, Von Miller went 2. And I remember I was standing in Hoo-Hots in line while they're cooking my food in front of me. Have you ever been to Hoo-Hots? Mongolian Grill? So you go, you pick out what you want. If you ever go, put a bunch of sauce. You can't put too much sauce. It's not possible. Like, I will put all the meat and the noodles and the vegetables and everything that I want in, and then I will get an entire, because you put it in a bowl, I will get an entire another second bowl just dedicated to the sauces. And the entire bowl is just sauce after sauce after sauce. And then they mix the two and they cook it right in front of you while you stand in line and move around. So I'm watching the draft. They take Cam 1. They take Von Miller 2. All right, the Panthers and the Broncos. And I'm like, man, that's what you need to win. You need a quarterback and you need a pass rush. And I remember thinking in my mind, what if they ever faced off in a big game one day? And then obviously it turned out to be the freaking Super Bowl. And it was the pass rusher, Von, not Cam Newton, that got the win that day. Both great players. Okay. Von was Super Bowl MVP. Cam Newton, NFL MVP. Think they did all right for themselves.
Oh, yeah.
But after that win, the people around there started in Denver, we lived outside of Denver, started talking so much trash. And all of a sudden, a team that I wasn't going to root for, but I wasn't going to root against, all of a sudden now I couldn't stand them. And now I just wanted to root against them. And I was like, you just shut up. Your team had a good, and then they kind of fell off a cliff after Peyton Manning left and Von Miller left. But it's kind of like that with Creighton. This is how that connects is I don't mind rooting for Creighton. I actually like rooting for Creighton to a point. Because once you cross that point, then we're going to hear about how much better Creighton is than Nebraska. So to me, that point in basketball, I've always said is like the Final Four. Like if Creighton made the Final Four, that'd be okay. I'd be happy. But if they play for a title or win a title, I just have a feeling it's never going to end.
Oh,
and I
just
just don't want to deal with that.
Oh, yeah. No, that's totally a fair point. It would never end. It would always be, well, we won a national title.
Yep.
What did you do?
So
yeah.
To me, it's like I like rooting for Creighton and UNO and all those non-Husker schools, but Nebraska state schools that I love up to the Final Four. And then like in basketball, and that's kind of my point. So you come back to Nebraska, the regional. So Creighton had a good season in baseball. Shout out to them. Again, I think their overall record, I closed the tab, but I think it was like 43-16. So that's really freaking good, obviously.
Wow. Yeah.
Almost 3-to-1 win-to-loss ratio there. You come back to Nebraska. Obviously, the regionals doesn't go the way that you want. They finished their season 33-29. All right. Is there anything off the text line real quick? And if not, I got a question for the fine folks.
Let's see here. D-Train says it's about the kids that come out of Nebraska. For UNO and Creighton, it's different than pro sports. Okay.
Okay, that's a fair point.
That's a fair point. Froth says Creighton baseball has owned Nebraska baseball the last 10 years. I hate Creighton baseball.
See, I thought he was talking trash on behalf of Creighton, and I was about to say that's it. That's my point right there. But no, he's saying he's a Husker fan and he's tired of losing. Okay.
Yeah, and then
I can agree with that.
Unknown texter 2312 says the loss of our number 2 and 3 hitters, Overbeek and Bowling, certainly didn't help us at the regional.
That's a great point.
It's definitely
Phenomenal
true.
point.
And then unknown texter 0167 says typical Nebraska ball. Almost a Nebraska ball. Nebraska ball. Pathetic, unserious program.
Nebraska ball. I had not heard that one.
I've been seeing it go around a little bit recently.
Is it a shot at so many injuries that we've had? The brace, like you need a brace?
No. Like, you know how we say Nebraska ball?
Yeah, I get that.
Like Nebraska, like baseball.
So it's not like meant as a compliment, like a good thing or a bad thing.
Maybe they meant Nebraska. I think Nebraska probably flows off.
Okay.
They said Nebraska ball.
It doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well.
I think Nebraska ball is better, but I guess you don't get the brass like Nebraska. Because Nebraska ball. I don't know. Nebraska ball is definitely.
I like Nebraska ball.
Yeah.
I'd have to think about Nebraska ball. I don't like Nebraska ball. It makes me think of a brace on a knee. Maybe that's because I've had so many injuries. I don't know.
Jesse the plumber says Creighton represents Omaha, not Nebraska. Don't root for them. Okay.
So I can get that sentiment. Okay. I definitely think of it as an Omaha school, whereas I think of the Huskers as a Nebraska school, but they're really both Nebraska schools. I've said it before.
True.
I equate Omaha, or I said Omaha. I equate Creighton to how I root for the Big Ten schools. I want the Big Ten to do well because it makes Nebraska Huskers look better.
Yeah.
I just want Creighton and UNO to do good to a point, to be clear, to a point, because the state of Nebraska looks better. But if someone says I see them more as an Omaha school, I can understand that. I definitely associate them more directly with Omaha, but Omaha's a part of Nebraska, and I connect Omaha with Nebraska too.
No, yeah, for sure.
I forget which texture it was. They kind of, and you don't have to reread it, but they basically buried the Nebraska baseball program, not a serious program, all that good, all that stuff. Okay. So that's the one thing that's bothered me online. 17-1, losing 2 out of 3, not the way you want to go down. I guarantee coaches and Bolt isn't happy. The players aren't happy. Fans shouldn't be happy with that. But to say it's not a serious program, we just won the Big Ten championship 2 years in a row. Okay, and this is with adding Oregon and USC and UCLA. By the way, a lot of these teams just hosted regional, so they're pretty freaking good. You have something?
It's just, I kind of draw a connection here to the basketball team. Like, they do poor, they get to the tournament, they can't win.
Yep.
But then you watch the Nebraska basketball team go and win the crown.
Yep.
It's like the Nebraska, whatever.
Yeah.
They go and win a Big Ten tournament 2 years in a row. They get to the tournament. They get to the regional. They can't win. So it's just like, it's like you're getting success and then you're not. Like, I don't know where the stopping point is. I don't know what's going wrong because you're getting there, but you're not getting anywhere further.
So to his point and to your point, again, in their last 10 NCAA tournament games, 1-9. Outscored 9.1 to 3.8. If we're going to round and be kind, 9-4. So these games, you're getting more than doubled up. The winning percentage is at about 10%. So it's not what you want. So that's a fair point. That's frustrating. I don't know, man. When I was growing up, when I was a young kid, I was fresh. Everyone remembers 94, 95, 97 with football. When I was old enough to start understanding what was going on in 94, I was 9 years old. 10 years old, if I could do math. I was born in 84. And I was just really starting to understand what was going on in college football. That was fresh off 7 straight bowl losses for Coach Osborne and the Huskers. 7 straight bowl losses, and some of them were not close. Go back, look at that Citrus Bowl, Georgia Tech, Nebraska, not pretty. Go 22-3, they lost to Miami. And then Florida State, I think it was within 14 points, a 92 right before they almost beat them, should have beat them in 93. But a lot of those bowl losses there was separation in the score. And so sometimes it takes a little bit of a while to piece things together, figure things out. To say it's not a serious baseball program, I think is going too far. I understand the frustration in the postseason and the tournament. But this is a team that going into the Big Ten tournament wasn't supposed to be in the NCAA tournament. We're like, oh, they have to win it all. It's not going to happen. Oh, then they win it all. And now all of a sudden they're in. Now, you want to do better once you get there, especially if you're supposed to be one of the hottest teams in the country. I look at the season as a whole. You look at the regular season, not what they wanted. Barely over 500. You look at the regional, not the way they wanted it to go. I don't want to say the Big Ten tournament kind of saved how we look at the season, but it saved how we look at the season. And I think that's because it's worth valuing winning a Big Ten championship for the second year in a row, 9 straight Big Ten tournament game wins, and finding a way to win game after game after game when your season is on the line. Yes, do they have more work to do? Osborne played for a lot of championships, won conference championships. It's different when you get outside of your region, even as big as the conference is in the Big Ten, your conference. And it's different when you're trying to beat different teams, and there's a learning process to that. Osborne went through it, clearly freaking figured it out. And so I can't help but wonder if maybe Will Bolt's going through that right now. I'm not saying we're going to win like 3, 4, 5 titles in baseball. I'm not saying we're not. What I'm saying is it's a learning process. Will Will Bolt figure it out? That's the question. Osborne eventually figured it out, obviously. Fred Hoiberg, can he figure it out? Now, I will point out in the Crown, because it's great to win the Crown Tournament Championship. It's great that we beat more ranked teams than we'd ever beaten before in a single season. But that consistency. You don't even make the Big Ten tournament. You're said to be one of the top 15 teams, I believe, in basketball, 12 in baseball. But when you win the Crown tournament, you got to remember you're playing, it means something. It has value. I don't want to say it doesn't, because I look at that season completely differently now, having won the Crown, than I did before we won it at the end of the regular season and how that felt. But you beat teams that weren't good enough to be in the tournament, to win the Crown Tournament Championship. So once you get in the tournament, you have to be able to take it to another level, and you've got to be able to adjust. And that's what baseball's having a hard time with. And that's what basketball's obviously got to figure out as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. And it's just something that I thought about while you were saying all that is and I know it's different, but just the magnitude of the difference between sports is, imagine Nebraska football has a great season. They make the Big Ten championship. They win. They go to the college football playoff. They lose in the first round. How do you feel about that season?
Right now, we feel great.
Yeah.
Unless we lost 1,000-0 in the playoff
game.
game.
And I know it's different. It's just like, it's interesting to see that across sports. Like in baseball, we're winning conference titles and losing in the first round of the regional tournament. And it's not, we're not liking that. And it's the same thing with basketball, but with football, we just got excited because we made a little bowl game.
Okay, so I'm gonna go back to when I was a kid. Getting to a bowl game was an afterthought.
Yeah.
Like when I played here, like bowl game. Yeah, why wouldn't we get to a bowl game?
Yeah.
9 wins for a long time, over 40 years. No other schools ever had 9+ wins every single year for over 4 decades, except for the one that resides in Lincoln, Nebraska. 9 wins, bowl games were taken for granted. And Coach Osborne told me this one time when I interviewed him. After that Georgia Tech Citrus Bowl. Georgia Tech was co-national champs that year, by the way, if you remember, in 1990 with
Yes.
Colorado.
Yes. I forgot
The
about
fifth down. Everything that happened that year. It's Colorado, so I have to take shots. I'm sorry. There's so much more I could go into. I'll leave it alone. I actually like Bill McCartney, their head coach at that point in time. Okay, but they shared the national title with Colorado. So Georgia Tech was pretty good. But Coach Osborne gathered all his coaches at the end of that season. By the way, this was like a 9-10 win season. They were a top 10 to 15 team in the country. He said, you might as well start looking for jobs. We're going to get fired. Now, thankfully, that didn't happen. But they came back next year and they lost, I think it was 22-3 or 22-0 in the Orange Bowl to Miami, who was co-national champs with Washington that year, by the way. So it's not like they're not playing really tough teams.
Oh, yeah.
But the expectations for Husker fans was, if you're not winning a national title, like, what are we doing here? And now it's like, let's just win a bowl game. Yeah. So it's all relative. It's all based on perspective, and it's all based on what you're used to happening recently.
Yeah, Pelini got fired on
so it's Solich.
Like a 9 with, and Solich too. And we all know what happens after that. But I don't know.
That's a whole another couple of rabbit holes we could go down there. We'll save that for another day. When we come back, a whole bunch of more Husker sports to talk about. But I got some interesting random baseball stats. Random baseball stats, including Tony Gwynn and a basketball stat. That has got to be one of the most interesting stats I've ever seen. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Country music star Rodney Atkins will be performing at the Icebox on Friday, June 20th. Tickets start at $30 and doors open at 7 p.m. The capacity is only 3,000, so don't wait. Buy your tickets at LincolnStars.com today before it sells out.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and they're having the biggest hail sale they've ever had. A huge opportunity is at your front door right now. Some of these cars we're fixing, some we're not, and some it's totally up to you. New Sierra starting at $15,000 off list. New Canyons at $8,500 off list. New body styles on the Acadias, $3,000 off list. You need to hurry as there's going to be a lot of people heading to Louisville. Check us out at cobblecars.com. Stock numbers G121492, G187747, and G196599.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription, or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Attention all Wings fans, Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O, or in Williamsburg Village.
If you're a veteran, our nation has created a wide range of benefits to thank you for your service, but it can be difficult to navigate the process of determining eligibility, filing claims, appealing decisions, and securing the benefits you've earned. Speak to your County Veteran Service Officer or the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs State Service Office to see what's available to you and your family. These services are 100% free, so visit veterans.nebraska.gov today. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. As always, check out all things The Ticket, ticketfm.com, Twitter, Facebook, anywhere you get your podcast platforms, YouTube, Amazon Prime, TV, or simply turn that radio dial to 93.7. We're getting quite the interaction here on the text line. People are, now Jackson can see them, I can't. I've always got a million things in front of me, so I always let the producer just have the textuals right in front of him. But I guess people are very, 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 very disappointed in baseball. And one person took it so far as to athletics, like Husker athletics. Like, okay, so we'll get to that in a second. But I guess a few interesting stats here. So Tony Gwynn, first of all, did you know that he played college basketball?
No.
So Gwynn was a two-sport star with San Diego State, playing 3 seasons of baseball and 4 of basketball. Apparently, he went pro in baseball after his junior year, but because basketball ends in the winter, he could finish out his senior year of basketball. So he actually played more years of basketball than he did baseball in college. All right. So here's one of the most interesting stats I've seen in a while. This is via RC Maxfield on Twitter. Tony Gwynn had more assists in college playing basketball, 590 at San Diego State, than he had strikeouts in his 20-year Major League Baseball career with 434. Do you have any idea how insane that is?
Yeah, it's nuts.
That's crazy. So in 4 years, 590 assists, which is quite a bit, by the way. And in 20 years of playing Major League Baseball, 434 strikeouts. I have not looked this up to confirm it, but that has to be by far the least amount of strikeouts during that 20-year period. It would have to be. All right. You look at the conferences. So the SEC, I put it out there. I don't think they're as good as they think they are in football. They're good. I'm not denying they're good, but they act like they're God's greatest gift to pigskins. They're not. They're not the NFL of college football. And it's interesting, when we actually played the games after the regular season last year, and you actually see what happens on the field, the bias that is in the national media gets exposed when the Southern teams don't win. And let's just be real. Okay. I've touched on it on social media now for a long time. We don't need to belabor the point, which is why I haven't said it a long time. But there is something to be said for everybody being able to pay players now, and I'm just going to leave it be. But ever since that happened, all of a sudden the tides have changed. You can connect those dots pretty easily. But when it comes to baseball and softball, I have said the teams in the South tend to be a little bit better as an overall whole. They have a generic built-in advantage being able to do those said sports more frequently throughout the year because of said weather. I'm okay with that because it's the truth. Just like I believe what I said about football is also the truth. Now, no conference has ever had more bids than the SEC conference had in the NCAA tournament this year. No conference has ever lost the 2 top national seeds before the super regional round either, which was Vanderbilt and Texas. Texas was ousted by UTSA. Do you know what UTSA stands for?
University of Texas in San Antonio.
Nailed it. You know their nickname? Meet me.
Yeah, that's the Roadrunners.
The Roadrunners.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you like that as a random question out of nowhere? Do you like that as a nickname?
It's not very intimidating.
Okay.
To me.
No, it's not. Dude, I'm a Nebraska guy through and through. But why in the world we were ever called the Bug Eaters at any point is beyond me. And thank God we changed that. But one of how do I put this? One of my other least favorite nicknames or mascots for a team ever is the frickin' Roadrunners. Like, when I was giving you a hint as to what it was, I literally said, meet me, like the old cartoon.
Meet me.
Like, yeah, hey, that was better than what I did. Yeah, there you go. That was good, man. All right. So UTSA, University of Texas, San Antonio, the Roadrunners oust the Longhorns of Texas. All right. And Texas is out. So number 1 and 2 seeds, Vanderbilt, who, by the way, Nebraska baseball beat early on this year, and Texas are both out. Gagmeyu's gone. SEC greatness. I mean, they're really good in baseball and softball, and I won't argue with that. But here's the deal. When you lose the top 2 seeds, and you have the amount of teams lose that they did, all right, when you actually play the games out, they were just over 500 in the postseason, which isn't exactly what you'd imagine from the top conference in America. And I'm not disputing that they're the top conference when it comes to baseball, when it comes to softball, or et cetera, et cetera. But the whole point is much like college football. when we actually played the bowl games. Illinois beat South Carolina, Michigan mollywops Alabama, and Michigan had injuries and guys in the draft gone, not Alabama. Alabama had their starters for the most part. Michigan did not. And this is not a Michigan team that had like a curb stomping type of season. They had 2 big wins at the end, Ohio State and Alabama, and they were very up and down throughout the year, got embarrassed, at home by Texas early on, who's a good team. But my point is, I like going by what happens on the actual field or court or diamond versus people's opinions. Not to get sidetracked here, but I'm going to get sidetracked here for about 30 seconds. It's why I'm personally not a fan of the 5-11, 16-team college football playoff model, because people's opinions will override. It's like just expanding the committee's powers. All you're doing with that will override what actually happens on the field. And if we're going to put 84 billion teams in the college football playoff, I love the automatic qualifying model, because if you can't automatically qualify into a 14 or 16 team playoff, then automatically qualify yourself into the offseason and next season and get ready for it. Because if you can't, now when you go to 4, 6, or 8 teams, now you could have a team automatically qualify through some sort of a process that maybe shouldn't be there. So then I would err more towards ratings and seedings. But if you're going to go to 14, 16 teams, let's have automatic qualifiers. And if you can't automatically qualify into that, I like what happens on the field over the quote-unquote eye test. I love that people came up with that about a decade ago. Well, this is my eye test. This is the eye test. It's a really fancy way of saying my opinion is. That's all that is my opinion is. And that's okay. We all have our opinions. I have mine. Jackson has his. We're right. We're wrong. It's all good. I like what happens on the field. And when these games actually get played out, you find out that the SEC is a really good conference in these sports, but they're not God's gift to earth like they would like us to think that they are sometimes. That's all I'm saying. You look at, let me continue on here. I had one more thing, because this was insane. To go undefeated in football is hard enough. Back when there was 11 college football games and you play a bowl game, going 12-0 was hard enough. And if you're 11-0, you're probably in the national championship game, so you're playing one of the other best teams in the country. You notice I said one or the other, because the process to figuring out that other team was always a little bit wonky. So either you were playing the other best team in the country or one of the best teams, but it's hard to do. Now we have 12 regular season games, and you got a conference title game, and then you would have a 14 playoff, so you'd have to win 15, 16 games. Now we're going to expand to we expanded to the 12 team. Now we're going to the 16 team, and teams are going to end up playing, I'd have to sit down and do the math, 16, 17, 18 games to win a national title. Okay, going undefeated in football is hard enough. Doing it in basketball and baseball, other than Connecticut women's basketball, maybe UCLA way back in the day under John Wooden, and doing it in baseball is just unheard of, and I don't care the level. So LSU Shreveport, NAIA, just capped off a dominant, this is per SportsCenter on Twitter, dominant 59-0 season. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did. I think they were like outscoring people like 24-0 in baseball, like even maybe even higher. I saw 24-0. That's what I remember. That's crazy.
You can say NAIA, you can say whatever you want. This is still impressive.
Baseball.
Yeah, baseball. Any sport is impressive.
Yeah,
but,
for real.
And we're not talking 12, 16 games, which is hard to do. We're talking 59-0. NAIA World Series title, 59-0 overall record, 8 wins by 15-plus runs, batted .361 as a team, 2.38 ERA as a team. Their opponent's batting average was 192. That's crazy. And I'm going to shock you with this one. The longest winning streak in college baseball history. Yeah, who could have predicted that? 59-0. That is just crazy to me. What's crazier to you, the 59-0 or the Tony Gwynn strikeout to assist ratio that he had in his baseball career versus college basketball career?
Oh, man. I don't know. 59-0 is pretty crazy.
I'd go with
59-0 is pretty crazy.
I'd go with 59-0. That is pretty crazy. All right, we got the text line here. We got some folks saying Nebraska sports as a whole are not serious, and you had a take on this, and you were letting me know it during the break. So I'm going to turn it over to you at this point. But any of the other textuals that you think are interesting, go ahead and read them, and I'll let you respond.
Just the argument that Nebraska athletics isn't serious or is unserious, that just seems a little bit far-fetched, because you're not saying baseball, you're not saying basketball, you're not saying football, you're saying athletics. So now I'm just thinking of names like Ridge Lovett and Antrell Taylor, who are 2025 national champions. I'm thinking of the whole wrestling team who was national runner-ups.
Yep.
Seems pretty serious.
I'd say so.
I'm thinking of the bowling team, who's been pretty nationally relevant, I would say so.
More national titles than any other bowling
pretty
program
much we're the number
country.
one team in the country all year.
Yep.
And I'm thinking of track and field, and I'm thinking of gymnastics. I mean, if we're going to say athletics, that's a whole new conversation. I'm also starting to think about tennis, who's looking up. The tennis program is doing great too. You know, if it's just the argument of athletics. Now you're bringing in everybody into it. I think unserious is an unfair judgment. To argue that Nebraska athletics is unserious. Yeah, I can understand the frustration with postseason, not having postseason success. Like with the basketball team being the only Division I team to not win a postseason tournament game. That's frustrating.
That's beyond frustrating, but proceed. Proceed.
But if your frustration lies with that, if your frustration lies with baseball not being able to win a tournament game in recent years, I understand that. But if we're going to say athletics, tune in tomorrow, Takedown Tuesday with Ridge Lovett, national champion 2025. And take a look at some programs around Nebraska. So
I think people tend to hone in on football, basketball, baseball.
Yes.
Softball was literally one pitch away.
Yeah.
By the way,
softball had a great year.
Tennessee's making a pretty deep run. The Women's College World Series champion, Women's College World Series right now. Are they in the championship game or the semifinals? It's one or the other.
I think it's the semis.
The semis. So that's the team that had to oust Nebraska. By the way, Nebraska was 2-2 on the year, 1-2 in the super regionals against them. So softball's looking up. Volleyball looks pretty good. Wrestling looks pretty good. Number 2 in the country, to your point. Football did just go to a bowl game. Been too long for that. Nebraska basketball, hey, let's get that freaking tournament win at some point. Okay. Nebraska baseball, back-to-back tournament championships. Track and field is year in and year out ranked in the top 25. All right. Women's gymnastics, you've seen Emma Spence, one of the best, if not the best in the entire country. Okay, the gymnastics team as a whole. Like, if you hone in on just specific sports, what I would say is don't do that. Because when you look at the overall sports as a whole here at Nebraska, trending in the right direction, a fair thing to say is an overall whole, the women's side might be a little bit ahead of the men's, and that's okay. It's not a good thing, not a bad thing. I root for the women just as much as I do the men. But to say as a whole, not serious, I can't take that comment serious would be my response to it.
I feel like I don't even have to mention volleyball.
Well, it needs to be mentioned if they're going to say that.
I feel like I shouldn't have to, though. I mean, Final Four appearances 24, 23, 2021, 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015. National championships in 2015, 2017. I mean, come on.
I think what'll help is Nebraska basketball gets their first tournament. Okay. In fairness to the comment, when you think about Nebraska basketball not having won a tournament game, I start to think about they're the only Power 4 school that has. I start to think about what that means. That means Mississippi State, with all due respect, has. Washington State was a Power 4 school. They have. Oregon State and Corvallis. Ever been there? Not great, beautiful, but not a lot of people. Not going to win a lot, but they do other than baseball. Struggle in most sports. They have a win. You think about all the schools across the country that do and Nebraska doesn't. That's frustrating. That's why I said it's beyond frustrating. Yeah. But when you step back and you look beyond just one or two sports and you look at the sports as a whole, I can't take the comment serious when they say Nebraska sports as a whole haven't been serious for 25 years.
No, I don't know. I guess I don't really get it. To be fair to the the listeners who kind of are frustrated with that, me personally, I didn't know a lot about Nebraska athletics until I came here, and especially when I started working here and I started sitting in front of a lot of these other athletes from sports that I hadn't really paid a lot of attention to.
Mm-hmm.
And hearing like bowling, I for sure from an outside stereotypical perspective, I was like, come on, it's bowling.
Mm-hmm.
But hearing the workouts that these girls do and really the practices that they go through and the technique that goes into bowling, yeah, that's a sport. And the fact that they're doing it at a very high level and being nationally relevant every year, and I know it's not the biggest space or sport around the country. They're not in a conference. I get that, but it is a serious sport.
Mm-hmm.
So they're taking it very serious. When they flew out to Vegas, played in the Final Four. They take it serious. So my only thing with that is we have some great shows here with some of these athletes. It's a great way to learn about some of these sports and learn about what really Nebraska as a whole has to offer. So that's just where I lie with that.
Let me just look back this past year. Nebraska women's basketball makes the NCAA tournament for a second year in a row. Okay, I would point to the Crown Championship. Somebody's going to say still haven't won a tournament game. Okay, that's fine. Nebraska football's trending in the right direction. Beat Wisconsin, which had been a long time in the coming, unfortunately, but now that monkey's off our back. Got to a bowl game, got the bowl game win, monkey off our back, winning season, trending in the right direction. Got to love the offseason moves. You look at volleyball. Volleyball is going to volleyball. I don't know how else to put that. Nebraska volleyball is just going to do what Nebraska volleyball does, Final Four. Okay, and it's almost like if they don't make the Final Four, it's a disappointment of the season, but that's because of what they've done. It's that recency, expectancy, based on what's happened in recent years. So you look all the way around, and Nebraska sports as a whole are trending in the right direction. I think what happens is if people look in a vacuum at just a couple of sports, then that can skew how you view sports across the board. Yeah. And that happens sometimes. Like there's certain sports, I watch all Husker sports, but there's certain sports I have more of a personal tie to.
No,
so maybe
for sure.
I look at them more.
I was telling you off air, I'm a football guy through and through.
Yeah.
Before I came here, that was the only sport that in Nebraska that I actually locked in on and paid attention to before I moved here.
So there's other people obviously very frustrated on the text line, and we appreciate when people send us their thoughts, their opinions.
No, it's great.
And obviously we want honesty. We're never going to ask for anything else. And I get the frustration because of the way the regional went.
Absolutely.
I get that. My only thought would be, just remember a little over a week ago when we thought they were going to be done after the Big Ten tournament, and they had only one option, and that was to beat out 17 other teams, win a Big Ten championship, and they did it. And that's why they were playing last weekend. So again, I look at that as they could have folded like a cheap tent, and they didn't. They were resilient. They did something most of us didn't think they could do, or they could, but didn't think they would do because the odds were stacked against them. Even if you're the best team out of 18 teams, it's still hard to actually get there at the end. They've done it 2 years in a row. So next year, let's start off hotter in the regular season, and let's finish stronger in the NCAA tournament. Let's get there again, and let's finish off just a little bit stronger. And I think people will be happier, but I understand the frustration.
No, for sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Let's head to break. And Ndamukong Suh, all right, is up for possibly going into the College Football Hall of Fame. Let's be real. He's going to get in. Just hasn't actually happened yet because they just announced basically he's up for it. Track and field, we'll discuss that at the top of the hour. Nebraska football recruiting updates. Let me see. There was one other thing I had written down here. We have this new thing called a punter. I know Mike Eckler's very excited. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Grandma and Grandpa, Mom and Dad, then the kids, and now the grandkids. Judson Irrigation has provided lawn sprinkler system design, installation, repair, and service to 4 generations. They're just like members of the family. Loyalty, trust, service. It's what you deserve and expect from Judson Irrigation.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Country music star Rodney Atkins will be performing at the Icebox on Friday, June 20th. Tickets start at $30 and doors open at 7 p.m. The capacity is only 3,000, so don't wait. Buy your tickets at lincolnstars.com today before it sells out.
With UBT, you've got total control over your money. Like Doug, who runs his game day tailgate like a well-oiled machine.
I got burgers, brats, chicken, dogs, plus all the fixins. And with the UBT Go app, I can track my food spending from anywhere.
Pro move.
They don't call me Grill Sergeant for nothing.
No matter your goals, UBT helps you feel good about reaching them. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Father's Day is coming soon, and you know what that means. Backyard parties and lots of grilling. You know what's more embarrassing than an overcooked piece of meat? A dirty, disgusting, and grimy grill. Let the pros at Husker Grill Cleaning keep you ready all grilling season. They'll take your grill apart piece by piece, scrub every inch, and reassemble it so your grill can look and perform its best. Visit their website, huskergrillcleaning.com today to schedule your appointment. Husker Grill Cleaning, serving Lincoln, Omaha, Malcolm, and more. Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and warm with an afternoon high near 92. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms likely, a low around 59. And tomorrow, showers continuing throughout the day. It'll be breezy and cool with a high just 62. The meteorologist, Kyle Carriker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Advanced Medical Imaging is the largest radiology group in Nebraska, located in Lincoln at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard. At Advanced Medical Imaging, they utilize state-of-the-art technology and blend it together with their compassionate, skilled team to guide you through every step. Whether it's an MRI, CT scan, or X-ray, their precise diagnostics help your doctor deliver the best care plan for you. Choose clarity and comfort in your life by choosing Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard and online at amimaging.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right. Before we dive into this and put a button on baseball for today anyways, we had a couple of respond texts, which I actually appreciated. Because people are invested, people are passionate, people have invested their emotions. And some people, if you're helping out with NIL, you've invested finances in some case. But either way, you're passionate about Husker sports, just like I am. When I get fired up, it doesn't come from a place of negativity, frustration, passion, genuinely caring. I know other fan bases, when things aren't going right, they just turn left and go to the next thing in their life and they don't care. Husker fans don't do that. They stick around, they care, they offer opinions. And that's one thing I love about Nebraska fans. But go ahead and read a couple of those text responses we were discussing.
Just some people on here, fans are frustrated. Fans are frustrated with, with kind of hitting a brick wall when it comes to postseason play. And I completely understand it. And I kind of like this line here, just demanding excellence.
Yep.
I can't say I disagree with that. I think that's great. It just reminds me of the old school, let's demand excellence. Because, so Tom Osborne did, the very Tom Osborne thing, demanding excellence. So, yeah, I agree with that. I can completely understand with being frustrated. So,
and then there was one more you said from someone who's been texting in quite a bit, I think.
So let's see.
They basically just said they were frustrated.
Yeah, it's pretty much just the same thing. A lot of people are like, Nebraska athletics is a very serious business. This team's finishing above them and largely operating in the red by spending freely. Nebraska makes 100% sure that they're in the black before spending. There's another one here.
So essentially, most fans are frustrated with how it ended, but I do think there is perspective. I think there is passion. I think when it comes to the individual who said Nebraska sports haven't been serious for 25 years, he was the one. What's his name again? I want to give him a shout out because he's the one who kind of texted and said, I'm just frustrated.
Yeah, just unknown texter.
Unknown texter. Okay, we don't have a name. So John Smith. Okay, we'll call you John Smith. John Smith texted and said that they're frustrated, which everybody is. And again, that's one of the things I love about Husker sports, Nebraskans in general. Like, I've lived all over the place. In other places, DC would be an exception. Those people love their Commanders, Redskins, the football team, whatever you want to call them. They are passionate year-round. There's other places I've been, things don't go well. They don't fire up the text line. They don't, and I'm not saying like people should get crazy with things, like keep it all in perspective and respectful, but passionate, but respectful. They just go on about their days and they don't care. They act like the team doesn't exist anymore. You might have half a season left to play and they're not watching, they're not going to the games. They're just disinterested because there was a rough start to the season and they're out ski 5,000. So Husker fans, Nebraskans are not like that, and that's one thing I love. So I love the fact that they're frustrated, passionate, but respectful because it matters to them.
You know, it keeps the fan base. It keeps everybody on their toes. You know, let's get there. Let's not tiptoe around it. And Tommy comes in and says, "I'm happy that Nebraska has 3 conference titles in 4 seasons. They had a lot to replace this year. Next year will be better. Always believe."
Talking about Husker baseball, right?
Yeah.
Think about that. Can you repeat that? What'd you say? I'm going to pretend like I don't know what you said.
3 conference titles in 4 seasons.
One more time.
3 conference titles in 4 seasons.
There we go. All right. Now, the next step is to be 1-0 starting next year in the postseason. Not 1-9, but 1-0 going forward. Okay. All right. Man, that came quick. All right. Here's what we're going to do. Because we got track and field updates. We got Indomitian Sue possibly going in the College Football Hall of Fame. We've got a new punter, all right, here in Nebraska. Would you say 18 years old?
Yeah, 18 coming out of Australia. So
here's what I know. I know they're excited. Down in that football facility, I know they're excited. I can tell you that right now. We can share some more info with you on it as well. Also, Nebraska football recruiting update coming in hour 2. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We shall return.
Make plans to attend the Nebraska Whiskey Carnival this Saturday at Sideshow Spirits in Lincoln. This unique one-day festival highlights Nebraska distilleries, local vendors, and chill music. A general admission ticket gets you a custom tasting glass and free samples from the distillery booths. Food trucks will be on site to sell food and snacks, and cigars will be available for purchase. Get your tickets today at SideshowSpirits.com. It's the Whiskey Carnival this Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. at Sideshow Spirits at 16th and P.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Cobble Chevrolet GMC, and they're having the biggest hail sale they've ever had. A huge opportunity is at your front door right now. Some of these cars we're fixing, some we're not, and some it's totally up to you. New Sierra starting at $15,000 off list. New Canyons at $8,500 off list. New body styles on the Acadias, $3,000 off list. You need to hurry as there's going to be a lot of people heading to Louisville. Check us out at cobblecars.com. Stock numbers G121492, G187747, and G196599.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
At Farm Bureau Financial Services, we strive to provide you with the right coverages for all your insurance needs by taking the time to meet with you and review what coverages best fit your needs. So whether you're in the market for home, auto, farm, business, life, or a combination of any of these coverages, we can help with making sure you, your family, or your business have the right coverage based on your individual needs. If you would like to review your insurance needs, please contact Ben Spurt with Farm Bureau Financial Services at 402-217-9945 or through email at ben.spurt@fbfs.com.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake. Attention all Wings fans, Buffalo Wings and Rings has daily specials that will make you want to stop in on all days of the week. Kids eat free on Mondays, and on Tuesdays enjoy 40% off boneless or traditional wings at a price that makes the whole family happy. And come back on Wednesdays for $1.39 chicken tenders all day long. Get to Wings and Rings today, 68th and O or in Williamsburg Village.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
There are great Mexican restaurants all over town, but there is one that is especially worth the drive from any part of town. Tacos Los Hermanos at 70th and Havelock. Cool off this summer with a delicious horchata or other special drinks. And grab one of their famous taco boxes for a group of friends or coworkers to enjoy, full of birria tacos and many other options. Don't forget their great desserts like tres leches, flan, and cheesecake. Get to Tacos Los Hermanos for lunch or dinner today at 70th and Havelock in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and warm with an afternoon high near 92. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms likely, low around 59. And tomorrow, showers continuing throughout the day. It'll be breezy and cool with a high just 62. I'm meteorologist Kyle Flecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball. This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Hour 2 of the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Hopefully everybody had a glorious weekend. Jackson is starting to heat up just a little bit. Did I see it's supposed to be like 90, 95 today?
Oh, is it? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's getting up there. It's getting hot here in Lincoln.
Do you like hot weather?
I'm used to it.
Well, that's not what I asked. I said, do you like hot weather?
It depends.
So I'm one of those guys, I like different weather. Like if I go outside, like legit, if it's 5 degrees and snowing, I'm happy. If it's like damp and raining and it's like 50, I'm happy. If I go outside and it's like, I don't want to say triple digits, but like 90, 95, I'm not a fan of humidity, honestly, but 90, 95 with some humidity, it's okay with that. That's what a pool's for. That's what a river is for. A lake is for. The only type of weather I don't like, and this is a really bad pun, okay, I don't like the wind. It literally blows, in my opinion. Okay, it's the one thing I just like. I can't stand the wind, but I love different types of weather.
Get some wind up here, that's for sure.
Well, it gets a little bit windy around here.
Oh, man.
But Jackson, I'm used to it.
Yeah,
Use your line. I'm used to it.
There you go.
It doesn't mean I got to like it, though.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, your daily reminder, if you're so inclined, check out the inaugural Carriker Chronicles football camp here in Lincoln, Nebraska, at the LYF Lincoln Youth Football Fields. The camp that is for the kids. All right, the kids can learn the basics and fundamentals, take their game to the next level, learn from such guys as Eric Crouch, Amon Green, Zach Wieger, Kenny Wilhite, and yours truly. 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., July 9th. Autographs, T-shirts included. It's for boys and girls, kindergarten through 8th grade. If you want to learn more, go to CarrikerChronicles.com. If you want to register for the Carriker Chronicles football camp, go to CarrikerChronicles.com. All right, my man. What do you think the odds are that Ndamukong Suh, he's one of the 79 players on the 2026 ballot for the National Football Foundation College Football Hall of Fame? Well, that's a short name to say. Let me say that again. I actually said it right, too. National Football Foundation College Football Hall of Fame. Say that 3 times fast.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it is. All right. Suh is included on the ballot in his first year of eligibility. All right. So before I go through some of this info I have in front of me, what do you think the odds are he's a College Football Hall of Famer soon?
I would have to say, based off of his career here at the University of Nebraska Lincoln, they're pretty high. That's just my personal opinion.
My estimation is somewhere between 100 to 200% likely he'll get in.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there.
I think that's a fair.
That's very fair. All right. So, I mean, I could read all of these accolades, and they deserve to be talked about. I'll pick some of the ones that stand out the most. He was the first defensive player to win the Associated Press College Player of the Year since the inception of the honor in 1998. Sue was the first defensive tackle invited to the Heisman ceremony in New York since Warren Sapp in 1994. All right, Rich Glover, for those who may recall, was invited in 1972. So Sue finished fourth in the Heisman. Mark Ingram won it that year. Mark Ingram, congratulations. With all due respect, I personally think Sue should have won it, but I'm just a whole lot a bit biased. Also, I think should have been Sue's trophy, but Mark Ingram's a great player as well. Sue finished fourth. Do you know what place? So Johnny Rodgers won it that year. Do you know what place Rich Glover finished?
Third.
Nice. Very impressive. Nice pull right there. So, but he was the first one to be invited to New York since Warren Sapp in 1994. Sue's fourth place finish in the voting, tied for the best by a defensive lineman since Nebraska's. There we go. Hold on. Okay, Rich Glover was third in 1972. I thought I was going to say fourth. Yeah, so let's read that again. Sue's fourth place finish in the voting, tied for the best by a defensive lineman since Nebraska's. Rich Glover was third in 1972. Sue also received the highest ever point total for a fourth place finisher, and his 161 first place votes were the most ever for an interior defensive lineman. He also won the Outland Trophy. All right, let's see what else we got here. The Rotary Lombardi Award to become the fifth Husker to do so. He became the fourth Husker to sweep the Lombardi and Outland Trophy Award in the same season, joining Rich Glover from 1972, Dave Remington in 1982, and Dean Steinkuhler, who in my humble opinion is not talked about enough, in 1983. All right, here's a trivia question for you. Who were the top two draft picks in the 1984 NFL draft? I'll give you a hint. They were both Huskers.
No, 1984. Oh, I have no clue.
Number one was Irving Fryer. Number two.
I was going to say Irving, but for some reason I was like, that was earlier. I was wrong.
No, well, it was following the 83 season. So the 84 draft.
Oh,
that
okay.
next spring.
Well, then, yeah.
Irving Fryer was number one. Dean Steinkuhler was number two.
Huh,
right.
I don't think I knew about Dean. I always knew Irving Fryer was.
I'm telling you, he's not talked about enough. All right. Great player. All right, Sue made a clean sweep of the National Defensive Player of the Year awards by winning the Chuck Bednarik Award, Bronco Nagurski Award. Sue was the first Husker to receive both of those awards, and he became just the fifth player to sweep those awards. Most recently, Miami's Dan Morgan did it in 2000. All right, in addition to the awards he won, Sue was also a finalist for the Walter Camp Player of the Year and the Lott Trophy. I'm actually a panelist on the Lott Trophy Impact Award, so I get a vote on that each and every year, so that's pretty cool. I was named the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Sue was named the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year by the league's coaches and every major outlet that chose a Defender of the Year. He was the first Nebraska defensive player to win the Big 12 Player of the Year honor since Grant Wistrom did it in 1996 and 1997. So again, the odds of Sue getting into the College Football Hall of Fame are somewhere between 100 and 200, or the percentage chance he gets in is somewhere between 100 and 200%.
Yeah.
All right. What do you want to discuss first? I'll let you choose. You want to discuss our new punter, or do you want to do Nebraska football recruiting updates?
I think we can kind of do the recruiting updates, and that kind of ties in with the punter. So
Perfect.
Yeah, let's flow into that.
Perfect. All right, here we go. Now, June is a big time month for University of Nebraska and recruiting. So there's a lot of guys that they're targeting, to be clear. More guys than I'm even going to chat about here. But some of the guys that, let me see, I want to highlight. All right. Highlight here are some guys such as wide receiver Nasir Rankin, 6'1", 160 pounds, out of Chicago. Tight end Matt Ludwig, 6'4", 235 pounds, out of Billings, Montana. Have you ever been to Montana?
I have not. I have never been to Montana.
I've been there a million times. My mom grew up in a log cabin outside of Lewis. Like, if you look at the center of Montana, dead in the center is a small town named Lewistown, Montana. That's where my mom grew up. And my grandpa Warner, he built a log cabin about 6 miles outside of Lewistown. It's literally 100 acres out in the middle of the Montana wilderness, okay? And he built a log cabin. And it's literally like it's a mountain. So it's literally on the side of the mountain. All right, you walk out, the ground is not level. It was kind of cool to see. And we go hiking all over the place. But I've been to Montana a million times. Thankfully, mostly in the summer. Only one time in the winter. So it's beautiful. I would talk to my grandparents. They'd be like, what's the weather there? It'd be like January, February. Oh, like negative 30. I was like, that's cold. They're like, it's just Tuesday. Like, it was just typical for them.
Yeah.
Montana is beautiful. even for a Nebraska guy, a little bit cold in the winter, though, I might say. But Billings is beautiful. My dad actually almost moved there. He got a job offer one time when I was a kid, but we did not move there. All right, Billings, Montana, Matt Ludwig, 6'4", 235 pounds. Now, he's currently committed to Michigan. All right, tight end Camden Jensen, 6'7", 220 pounds. Littleton, Colorado, 4-star. All right, Ludwig is a 4-star as well. Jackson Cantwell, highly sought after, 6'8", 300 pounds. All right, out of Missouri, 5-star. That whole, number one commit in the entire country. He is currently committed to Miami, it seems. That may be a tough one to sway. Some of these are tougher than others to sway. Gregory Patrick, 6'5", 275 pounds, out of Michigan, 4-star. Defensive end Hunter Higgins, 6'5", 245, out of Wichita, Kansas, a 3-star, currently committed to Kansas. Linebacker Keenan Harris, 6'2", 220 pounds, out of St. Louis, Missouri, a 4-star, currently committed to Missouri. Guard Hudson Parliamount, 6'4", 285 pounds, a 4-star as well. Safety J.J. Dunnigan Jr., 6'2", 190 pounds, out of Manhattan, Kansas. All right, and linebacker Landon Bland, 6'4", 230 pounds, out of Carthage, Missouri. Now, those are the guys that are scheduled for visits, to be more specific. That's why I brought them up. Okay, here are some of the other guys that are not scheduled for visits just yet. There's currently a dozen or so players Nebraska has recruited over the last year or longer that currently do not have scheduled visits. Again, the Huskers haven't given up on this group and continue to try to get them in for official visits. While some may have already made up their minds, others have. Guys change their mind all the time, so they may have second thoughts and give the Huskers another look. Wide receiver Cohen Brown, 6'4", 180 pounds, 4-star out of Texas. Now, he is scheduled to visit Baylor and Notre Dame. Hopefully, Nebraska can get him into Lincoln. Athlete Jacob Eberhardt, 6'3", 210 pounds, out of Kirkwood, Missouri. Again, scheduled to Missouri and Illinois, a 4-star recruit there. Hopefully, Nebraska can get him in. Tight end Isaac Jenkins, 6'6", 220 pounds, out of good old Omaha, Nebraska, 3-star. Visit scheduled to Iowa State, Missouri, Florida State, and Texas A&M. Tight end Ian Premer, 6'5", 210 pounds, out of Great Bend, Kansas, 3-star, with visits scheduled to Kansas State, Iowa State, Notre Dame, Kansas, and Michigan. All right, let's see here. It's a long list. I'm not going to read through each and every one of them. Essentially, so another offensive tackle, 6'7", 310 pounds, out of Honolulu, Hawaii. He's one of those kids that you look at him, you're like, this kid could contribute early, potentially early. All right, Malachi Lee. You look, there's an offensive guard, Breck Collegier, 6'5", 294 pounds. Another offensive guard, 6'4", 280. Defensive end, Jamarian Carlton, 6'5", 230. Linebacker, Kason Thomas, 6'1", 190, out of Sioux City, Iowa. All right, and a lot of these kids are scheduled to visit schools like Kansas, Missouri, Notre Dame, Baylor, Texas. Tennessee's on here quite a bit. Michigan, Alabama, Georgia. All right, defensive lineman, Valdon Sohn, 6'3", 315. Defensive lineman, Jeremy Finch, 6'3", 260. Defensive end, Titan Davis. An individual you've heard brought up quite a bit, 6'5", 255 pounds. Part of that is he has visits scheduled to Michigan, Alabama, USC, and canceled his official visit to Nebraska and rescheduled it to USC. So some of these look brighter than others. But man, how often do kids flip and change their mind nowadays? So it's one of those things where if you're Matt Rule, you have to constantly recruit the kids who've already committed to you so they don't flip. And you got to constantly be recruiting other kids, even if they're committed elsewhere, because you never know when they might change their minds and flip and come to you. All right, now here's some of the actual scheduled visits. June 5th, tight end Luke Sorensen. All right, let's see, June 6th, safety C.J. Bruneau. Running back Brian Bonner, offensive tackle Kevin Obat. June 6th is a big day, by the way. Cornerback Jatavius Wyman, cornerback Camden Heimel, defensive lineman Cameron Wilson, interior offensive lineman Hayden Ainsworth, who, by the way, is 6'3", 305 already. Offensive tackle Matilli Benjamin, who's 6'6", 305. Interior offensive lineman Ryan Merritt, offensive tackle Rex Waterman. All right, and you go to June 13th, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more visits. June 14th, Jade Warren's coming in. June 20th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more guys scheduled to visit. So they are hitting it hard. They have, for lack of a better way of putting it, they have deprioritized recruiting Nebraska kids first. All right. They have prioritized simply going after the best players that they see fit, period. And Matt Rule said, it's been a few press conferences ago But I think there's two reasons. Well, I don't think, based on what he said, there's two reasons for the change. He said, number one, we've seen Nebraska kids come in, and we've seen them leave. So if you're going to in-state recruit, your thought is those kids are going to be more likely to stay here longer, ergo you have a better chance to develop them and actually have them play in your program, whereas out-of-state kids may be more likely to leave. Well, if you're bringing in Nebraska kids and they're leaving just like everyone else, then all of a sudden you're going to look at a Nebraska kid just the same as a Missouri kid or a Florida kid or a Texas kid, and now you're purely going to say there is no geographic advantage to us if they're just as likely to leave if they don't like what's going on. So now we're just going to go after the best players, period. And I'm curious to see how this unfolds. I do think contracts and revenue sharing is going to make it much, much, much less likely the kids just bounce around like a ping pong ball from school to school to school in the future. Again, I don't know how close we are to that, though. So I'm curious to see how this unfolds until those contracts. And there are some things that are being done now, to be clear. Okay. But I don't know how far away all that stuff is. Again, the light at the end of the tunnel is there. I just don't know how long the tunnel is. And I said this was kind of a swing for the fences type approach. Because the other thing Matt Rule said, he said, we're trying to beat Ohio State. We're trying to beat Michigan. We're trying to beat Penn State. With all due respect to the Big 12 schools. And he even said I might go viral for this. And he kind of sort of did, but not really. Matt Rule goes viral all the time for things that he says. This isn't one of them I saw kind of take off. But basically he's saying, I'm paraphrasing, we're not trying to beat Big 12 schools. We're trying to beat Big 10 schools. And the insinuation is that the Big 10 is on another level from the Big 12, which it is, and fair to say. So if kids are getting recruited and offers and committing to Iowa State, he's basically saying, I'm not going to go running to those kids just because they're from Nebraska, okay? Because we're not trying to beat the same schools Iowa State is. We're trying to be in this conference over here, which we are in, but we're trying to win games over here, and that takes another level of player. Now, he did say he's open to all those kids. Matt Rule's got like 1 million camps this summer. The Matt Rule football camp, Friday Night Lights, 7-on-7, all these things he's doing. Come, let us get a firsthand look at you. We're not saying no. We're saying come to the camp. Let us get to know you more. Basically, they're looking across the country and they're taking a swing for the fences type approach, which I don't have an issue with because of who we are trying to compete with. It's one of those things where you may not get as a large volume of player in your classes. You might, but the odds of that probably go down because of the type of player you're going after, and they're going to have so many more options and so much more money and NIL thrown at them. But it's almost about quantity over quality. Like if they come and they're happy and they're more likely to be able to play because they're really good players and maybe there's not as many other players around them because they went to other schools because maybe they didn't want to compete with the guy who came here. Not everyone wants to compete. Some people look for the easy way out sometimes. Some people want to compete and could care less. I think his approach is that's how we're going to win games going forward in the future. So 2 questions, Jackson. Did that all make sense? And what are your thoughts on it, my friend?
Yeah, no, I think it makes sense. I like the outlook of the recruiting in Nebraska. I mean, obviously, the Nebraska kids. You have an advantage to a sense because it's easy to drive to Omaha to go watch a game, or even in Lincoln, go watch a game and recruit them here. And then obviously, there's a lot of kids that grow up here dreaming to wear the scarlet and cream. So it makes perfect sense why that's an advantage. But I totally get why he's just let's branch out. I mean, the first commit of your 27 class is the number 2 overall quarterback from Illinois, who you think Illinois would have had a great odds to get. And they did. They were in that final conversation for Trey Taylor, but he ultimately ends up coming here, and that's how you kick off the class. And now you got him here all week in a very important recruiting week here at Nebraska to peer recruit, which is fantastic. But yeah, it all makes sense. I like that we're in the conversation now, and it feels like we're recruiting at a higher level than it's ever been. I mean, it feels like 4 stars the minimum. And I know I say this all the time, stars don't matter, but to get these type of athletes in, it's just cool to see that a lot of these top guys that are getting offers from schools that are doing so many good things, currently for Nebraska to be in that conversation is really cool. So I think Nebraska is doing great right now. I will be interested to see what Matt Rule does here this week and through this and very important month of June for the football team.
Yeah. So real quick, do me a favor while I'm chatting here. Look through the text line if you don't mind. Let me know if there's anything from there we should chat about real quick. But I have no problem with what he's doing. I said it before. He's got to do what he believes is best. He also said in the press conference, you can't serve 2 masters. They've asked every coach before me basically for a long time to, at some point, leave. So he's trying to win football games, and this is the best way he sees fit because he wants to stay here and coach and keep coaching and win football games in Nebraska. So as far as how we're doing recruiting, all we know is the approach right now going forward. We know what his previous classes have looked like. I'm curious how many kids commit, how many stay committed, how many sign, how many come, how many stay here, don't transfer, and end up playing and contributing on the field. It's no different than in Florida or Texas or Washington or wherever else. It's the same process for everybody. Yeah. How does it work and how does it play out here at Nebraska for Matt Rule with the way that he's approaching it? And again, he has to do what he believes is best. A coach, when he's saying I can't serve two masters, he's saying I can't do what everyone's telling me to do if I believe this is what's best, if the priority is to win. And that makes perfect sense to me. So I support it. I'm just intrigued by the quarterback position specifically. Daniel Kalen, not here. Fine with that. Happy to have Dylan, obviously. Okay, you look at Jet Tamala. It doesn't appear as though, I mean, we've got a quarterback in that class. You look at Braylon Warren, it's kind of the same thing. To be clear, love, okay, Trey Taylor. So excited for him. And he's doing the best peer recruiting he can. I can't wait to see what he's able to accomplish with that. That's just part of, like, he's got to make those decisions. These kids that are just up the road versus a kid who's maybe from Illinois or whatever the case may be. And how does that all play out? Again, that's why Matt Rule gets paid the big bucks. We get paid far less to sit here and talk about what he's doing because he's the guy in charge getting paid the big bucks. Is there anything off the text line real quick, my friend?
Just Eric coming at us.
Coming at us. This sounds fun.
No, just Bleep 95 like today, Adam. When we were talking about the weather.
Oh, talking about the heat. Oh, he's not a fan of the heat. Well, if it's hot every day, I hate it. I just like changes in weather. Anyways, go ahead. I get it, though.
Someone just chimed in on Texture says, I get the thought that stars don't matter, but they really do. Look at the recruiting classes of national champs, and they're loaded with 5 and 4 stars, and it's really barely any 3s anymore. It's definitely a fair assumption.
I mean, it's a fair point. I think, so when I was playing, the way they evaluated recruits and rated them, I don't think it was as reliable as it is now. The longer you do something, the better you're going to get at it.
Oh, yeah.
I watched 5 stars come in, and I watched them quit in the middle of drills. Not all of them, just some guys are popping into my head right now. And I watched a particular 5-star walk out of the Hawk Center in the middle of a winter conditioning set. Just walk right out, okay? And I watched another one go head-to-head with a walk-on from Lincoln, Nebraska, a local high school, and kind of get embarrassed. Now, to be clear, that's not every situation. It's not every 5-star. It's not every walk-on, okay? But I've always said, I don't care who you are when you walk through the door, it's what you do once you're in the building. Now, to that texter's point, they're much better at evaluating who you are before you walk through the door than they were when I was here, which was 18 years ago, was my senior year. I got here in 2002, so a little over 20 years ago. So they're better at evaluating and rating guys more accurately than they were before. But at the end of the day, you still got to come in, you still got to buy in, you still got to develop, you still got to get better. The reason the Big 12 doesn't recruit like the ACC even does. Not even close. All right. They've had one top 25 recruiting class the past 3 years in the Big 12. Yet they have top 20, top 25, top 15 teams.
Yeah.
Now, they're not going to consistently compete with Ohio State or, these other schools that are top 2 or 3 every year. But if you're not at a top 25, top 30, top 40 recruiting class, how are you a top 15 team? So development over time does matter. There are other things that matter. But even Matt Rule said, man, I'm a much better coach the better players I have. It's funny how that works. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, let's discuss our brand new punter. Don't go anywhere. We'll return.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue. It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a 1-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
There are great Mexican restaurants all over town, but there is one that is especially worth the drive from any part of town. Tacos Los Hermanos at 70th and Havelock. Cool off this summer with a delicious horchata or other special drinks, and grab one of their famous taco boxes for a group of friends or coworkers to enjoy, full of birria tacos and many other options. Don't forget their great desserts like tres leches, flan, and cheesecake. Get to Tacos Los Hermanos for lunch or dinner today at 70th and Havelock in Lincoln.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
and electrical.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Schwieso Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schwieso Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schwieso.com. That's schwisow.com.
Make plans to attend the Nebraska Whiskey Carnival this Saturday at Sideshow Spirits in Lincoln. This unique one-day festival highlights Nebraska distilleries, local vendors, and chill music. A general admission ticket gets you a custom tasting glass and free samples from the distillery booths. Food trucks will be on site to sell food and snacks, and cigars will be available for purchase. Get your tickets today at sideshowspirits.com. It's the Whiskey Carnival this Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. at Sideshow Spirits at 16th and P.
Rick Heyman here from Sauter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sauterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Safety is always at the top of mind at Lincoln Electric System. The safety of our employees and the safety of our customers. It's National Safety Month. Visit les.com/safety for tips on all things related to electrical safety.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Country music star Rodney Atkins will be performing at the Icebox on Friday, June 20th. Tickets start at $30 and doors open at 7 p.m. The capacity is only 3,000, so don't wait. Buy your tickets at lincolnstars.com today before it sells out. Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and warm with an afternoon high near 92. Tonight, showers and thunderstorms are likely, a low around 59. And tomorrow, showers continuing throughout the day. It'll be breezy and cool with a high just 62. I'm meteorologist Kyle Flecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right, before we dive into our new punter, Final thoughts on Nebraska's recruiting. Some of the areas where they've struggled with their recruiting, at least thus far, a lot of time left before National Signing Day, which is now honestly December. February is just an afterthought. Okay, at least this far has been a tight end and defensive line of the top 4 tight end targets. Lincoln Watkins and Luke Sorensen are the only two that are making visits. Sorensen is leaning towards Penn State, it seems, at this point in time, and Watson is being heavily pursued by Florida. So when you go after these top players, that's why it's kind of a swing for the fences approach. You're going to be competing with Penn State and Florida. And Matt Rule believes they have real shots at these players because of what Nebraska offers, facility-wise, coaches, development. Let's be real, NIL is a big deal. Okay, as for defensive linemen, only edge, Xavier Griffin Haynes and defensive lineman Cameron Wilson are scheduled for visits. And Wilson has already committed to Syracuse. Top target, all right, Titan Davis canceled his June visit. I mentioned that earlier and scheduled a visit to USC instead. Defensive end, Jamarian Carlton isn't scheduled to visit, and Nebraska is still trying to convince Valdon Sohn and Jeremy Finch to set a date to visit. The recruiting board is thin at defensive line, and the staff is working hard to catch up. But it's imperative they fill the defensive line. A sponsor, transfer portal defensive lineman can be expensive and difficult to come by. All right, as for now, Nebraska isn't expected to take a huge class in this 2026 cycle, going to be a little bit smaller, which is why what I mentioned earlier, it's so weird to say because these are human beings, but it's also, this is a business. It's quality over quantity, so to speak, as far as who they're going to bring in going forward. Okay, but if there is another position the Huskers can't miss on, it's offensive line. They need to take at least 2. You can be assured Nebraska won't take bodies just to fill holes. They will be selective, which they have shown throughout this recruiting process as well, with 8 offensive linemen visiting, a lot of offensive linemen, by the way, this summer. They should be able to pick up, hopefully, some of the top-tier talent. Other players the Huskers need to prioritize are safety C.J. Bernard, linebacker Jordan Campbell, linebacker Ja'Cory Smith, wide receiver Jaden Warren, all right, wide receiver Ryan Mosley, running back Stephon Walker, tight ends Watkins and Sorensen. There is work to be done by the Nebraska staff, all right, but that's not a shocker. Again, there's a lot of time, a lot of recruiting to be done yet before signing day is upon us. All right, let's get to Nebraska's new punter. Nebraska football adds Australian punter Archie Wilson. Now, before I kind of get into talking about him a little bit, what's your initial take on him, Jackson?
I think it's great. I think it's great to see something new to the special teams. And my thing with it is if people that are unfamiliar with it, just trust Mike Eckler. This guy knows what he's doing. Mike Eckler knows how to deal with a rugby punter. He did it at Tennessee. He's got the experience with it, and it worked pretty well at Tennessee, mind that. So I'm hyped up about it. I got to say I'm fired up. And finding out that this kid's only 18 is also very cool. To know that this kid could be here for a few years, develop, and become a really good punter under a guy like Mike Eckler. That's exciting. That's exciting to see.
So that's cool to you because you think he can help us immediately.
Oh, yeah.
And then just get better and better. Is
that's
what you're getting at?
I think he's got a great ceiling, a very high ceiling, in my opinion. So, yeah.
So I know that they are indeed very, very excited about him. Without saying too much, I believe they have been for a while. Now, you got to keep in mind, okay, Archie Wilson went to Pro Kick Academy. Eckler has a good relationship with them, and he is able to kick with both of his legs. All right, now, he's a young guy, 18 years old. Okay, new special teams coordinator, Mike Eckler, has his man. He has added Australian punter Archie Wilson, which is a rugby-style punter, something Eckler has had for a long time, the way he likes to do it. The game of football is always evolving and changing, and there's certain things that you can do with a rugby-style punter. When it comes to pinning teams, that it's a big deal. When it comes to not giving up big-time returns, it's an advantage. Okay, when it comes to directional kicking, when it comes to doing certain things, it's actually easy to run fakes out of as well, by the way. I don't know how good this kid is at throwing the ball, running, or anything like that, but there's a lot of things that they can do, and I know for a fact they are excited about him, and they've been excited about him for quite a while. All right, Matt Rule, and I quote, Coach Eckler has done a wonderful job, and he strongly believes in utilizing the college football rules, which are different than the NFL, which is something we've talked about here before. So why would you not take advantage of it? Okay, that was me improvising. Now back to Rule's quote. All right, different than the NFL rules in which guys can get down the field. That's the key part. That's the key part. Let me repeat. That's why this type of punter, rugby-style punting, is huge in college football, in which guys can get down the field. And I quote, so we will be more of a rugby punt team, end quote. All right, the Huskers had added a portal punter, as we know from Washington, Jack McAllister, who, he was by all rights going to be a very good punter, just not the right style of punter when you bring in Mike Eckler, what he's looking for. And this has as much to do with confidence and belief in Mike Eckler, what he's done in the past, what we expect from him in the future, and trusting Mike Eckler with what they're doing right now. Okay, Wilson, our current punter now, is an 18-year-old who had previously played Aussie rules football back home, and he visited Nebraska this past weekend. He trained, as I mentioned, at Pro Kick Australia, which develops Australians to become star punters in the college game and at the NFL level. Now, several current NFL punters broke in, learned how to punt, earned their straps, so to speak, at Pro Kick. You look at former Iowa Hawkeye, Torrey Taylor, who's now with the Chicago Bears. All right. And Taylor was pretty good. He was a 2-time Big Ten Punter of the Year, unanimous All-American, 2023 winner of the Ray Guy Award for the nation's best punter. He holds records as well for most punting yards in a season and highest career average punting yards. All right. Eckler worked with a rugby-style punter at his previous stop in Tennessee, Jackson Ross, also developed by Pro Kick. In 2023, Ross made the Ray Guy Award final candidate list and earned all SEC freshman honors. Nebraska will have a new punter this fall after the graduation of 3-year starter Brian Brusini, the 2021 FCS Punter of the Year. All right, and when he was at Montana, averaged like 43 yards per punt over 37 games. And when he was here, did very well. That Rutgers game where he about broke his back and just kept punting. And I think they executed a fake punt and he threw the ball in that game. I could be wrong if it was in that game. I think it was. He actually got a black shirt after that game. And I remember that on that following Monday show coming on here, before I knew he got a black shirt, saying that guy should get a black shirt, even though he's a punter. Like, it's happened before, and I support it because he's really a part of the defense. If the offense starts with the ball at the 20 versus the 40 versus the 10, that's a big deal. That helps or hurts the defense in a big-time way. So this is a kid who's young. We expect him to make an immediate impact. Jackson makes a great point. He's only going to get better and better. And this is about faith and trust in Mike Eckler, which I think pretty much everybody has. So I'm pretty excited about this. And when Matt Rule talks about taking advantage of college football rules, where your coverage team can get down the field, like, I don't know, it's the basic math. So if the returner, let's say, is 50 yards away, and your coverage team is 10 yards away when the ball's punted versus 30 yards versus 20 or at the line of scrimmage, that makes obvious sense. He's not going to have very many return yards on average, which is why Eckler's Tennessee teams had great coverage units. They did not give up big returns. They did not give up a lot of return yardage on average. Okay. They also did not allow many block kicks. So that's going to be good this year as well. Any other thoughts you got there, Jackson?
No, I think it's great. And I also saw something that Wilson's going to compete with Camden Cook. And if that sounds familiar, that's because Cook is the former son of former Husker and NFL great, I would say. One of the better punters over the past decade.
Absolutely.
Sam Cook?
Yep.
So for anybody that's like, well, where do we go after, like, what if this doesn't work out? You got a guy, he's not just going to be given the job. He's going to compete against Camden. I think that's how you say that. Camden Cook. So yeah, like it's not going to be handed to this guy. I know he's got a lot of talent, and that's obviously what they want. But don't forget about Mr. Camden Cook.
Yeah, to be clear, anybody we talk about, it's interesting because college football is still different from the NFL, but as we know, it's getting more and more like it all the time. So in the NFL, when you sign and spend a bunch of money on a free agent sign, you expect that guy to come in and play. Yeah. So when you get a guy through the transfer portal and you spend a bunch of money, even though not all that information is public, you expect the guy to come in and play. But I'm still of the belief that you have to earn your spot.
Absolutely.
I've said a million times, the guy who's going to get paid more NIL money is just going to get more benefit of the doubt. And I have no problem with that. That's how it should be. But at the end of the day, if one guy's clearer than the other, clearly better than the other, I don't care who's getting paid more money. We got to win football games. But you anticipate these guys coming in, being very good players, and contributing right away.
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, that's exactly what I was alluding to. So, yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, track and field had a big weekend. All right. They have a school record. 13 Huskers qualify for the NCAAs. College Station, Texas. Brian Schultz broke the 1,500-meter school record as Nebraska's track and field team qualified 2 more athletes to the NCAA championships on Saturday, bringing the total to 13 after 4 days at the NCAA West preliminary round. Schultz qualified for the NCAA championships as she ran a 4:11 in the 1,500 meters to finish 4th and set a new personal best and etch her name in the Husker record books. Jenna Rogers also punched her ticket to Eugene, her 8th career NCAA trip, clearing 1.84 meters in the high jump. 4 of the Huskers competed in the event as Karstine Leeling was 14th. All right. Ella Velopek, I hope I said that correctly. All right. Cleared a PR 1.81 meters or 11 and a quarters feet for 15th. And Brooklyn Miller and Riley Maston tied for 24th. Darby Thomas ended his Husker career on a high note as she set a PR in the 100-meter, improved to her second fastest time in school history to 11.24 to finish 16th. All right, Nebraska track and field, 13 Huskers qualify for the NCAAs, and Berlin Schultz has a PR, 4:11 in the 1,500 meters. Basically, a mile is 1,600 meters, so she basically ran a mile in 4 minutes, 11 seconds. I have my daughter Trinity runs the mile. And can somebody explain to me? Okay, help me out. Somebody help me out on the text line. Because four laps around the track is 1,600 meters. So why do we, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I'm curious. Why do we run 1,500 meters? And why do we cut it 100 meters short and not just run the 4 full laps and go to 1,600 meters for a full mile? Somebody help me out with that because I just don't know. And I've been curious about that ever since my daughter Trinity. Okay, so she's a 6th grader and she's run a 5:15 mile, which blows my ever-loving mind. Yeah. So when I'm reading this, I'm even more intrigued. So it blows my ever-loving mind, and it's a 1,500 meters, not a full. I say mile, but it's 1,500 meters. Can somebody on the text line help me out with why it's not a full 1,600? Because I genuinely am just curious and just don't know why. But the big point here. Nebraska track and field, 13 Huskers qualify for the NCAAs. All right, let them know that text line number, see if anybody can help me out with that knowledge there. Jackson, then we'll head to break.
Yeah, help us out at 424-664-5685. Starter Heyman text line.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Your Nebraska Lottery announces the 2025 NASCAR Powerball Playoff. And it's a great way to get on track for a chance to win $1,000. From May 27th to June 23rd, buy $2 of Powerball, enter the voucher number online, and you could be one of 20 winners of $1,000 and a chance to win a VIP trip to the NASCAR Championship weekend at Phoenix Raceway. Roar into any Nebraska Lottery retailer and buy $2 of Powerball today. Powerball top prize odds 1 in 292 million.
Make plans to attend the Nebraska Whiskey Carnival this Saturday at Sideshow Spirits in Lincoln. This unique one-day festival highlights Nebraska distilleries, local vendors, and chill music. A general admission ticket gets you a custom tasting glass and free samples from the distillery booths. Food trucks will be on site to sell food and snacks, and cigars will be available for purchase. Get your tickets today at SideshowSpirits.com. It's the Whiskey Carnival this Saturday from 3 to 6 p.m. at Sideshow Spirits at 16th and P.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Safety is always at the top of mind at Lincoln Electric System. The safety of our employees and the safety of our customers. It's National Safety Month. Visit les.com/safety for tips on all things related to electrical safety.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Country music star Rodney Atkins will be performing at the Icebox on Friday, June 20th. Tickets start at $30 and doors open at 7 p.m. The capacity is only 3,000, so don't wait. Buy your tickets at lincolnstars.com today before it sells out. Take control of your health with the DASH scan at Advanced Medical Imaging. The DASH scan is a full-body MRI designed for advanced health screening. This dynamic approach provides exceptionally sharp images across multiple organ systems, helping to detect potential concerns early. With minimal radiation and no invasive procedures, the DASH scan offers a safe, comprehensive look at your health. Plus, results are delivered faster than ever, giving both patients and physicians confidence in screening and diagnosis. Your health is too important to wait. Schedule your DASH scan today at Advanced Medical Imaging. Visit amimaging.com or call 402-484-6677 to learn more.
Rick Heyman here from Sauter Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sauter Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sauterheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's schwisow.com.
A smoke-free environment is the only way to fully protect from the dangers of secondhand smoke. That's why smoke-free policies are so important to me. Whether it's in my car, apartment building, or when I'm dining outdoors, there's no place for secondhand smoke or e-cigarette aerosol. Breathe easier knowing the facts. Visit smokefree.ne.gov. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final segment of the Adam Carriker Show, this fine Monday edition. Jackson, do we know why it's 1,500 meters and not 16?
Well, I do know from our lovely text line, Nolan Border comes in and says, I think it's 1,500 in college, so college athletes can qualify for the Olympic trials. Olympics run 1,500, not the mile. And I kind of built on that with a little Google search. It says that 1,500 meter race was chosen as the international standard in the Olympics first in 1896, apparently. It became a popular racing distance in Europe in the late 19th century, possibly as a metric version of the mile. While the mile is still raced in some contexts, like United States high school track, the 1,500 meters has become the dominant event at major international competition. So I imagine that it's just somewhere down the line in history, people chose 1,500 and they just stuck with it.
Sounds like it's just kind of one of those things somebody chose it a long time ago. It just becomes an accepted part of something, and then you just never change it. So if it's that simple, I can live with it. I was confused. Like literally the end line is literally 100 meters. Like I watch where they take off, and then the end line is literally, so they do the full circle 3 times, and then the fourth circle, trip around the track, is literally 100 meters shorter. And I'm just like, somebody help me out with this. So again, track is a little bit new to me. Okay, I grew up playing football, basketball, baseball, lifting, that whole world. I love sports, obviously. Some things are a little bit newer to me than others. I'll tell you right now, my daughter Trinity did not get her endurance from me at all. 20 yards or less to this day. I will take on anybody, anytime, anywhere, 20 yards or less. Now, I'm less confident that I'll win than I was when I was playing. I was confident I'd win. I didn't care if you were a DB, a linebacker, a safety. Did not care, okay? Because 15 yards, 5 yards, 10 yards, the less it was, the better it was for me. Like if we sprinted the 20-yard pro agility, 20-yard shuttle, I would take it. You can look up my combine time and just keep in mind when you see that time, I fell down and they wouldn't let me run it again.
Oh.
So when you look at that time, I fell down and still ran that time and they wouldn't let me run it again. So my point is I am very confident short distances. You get beyond 20 yards, not my world. There's a big world out there beyond that 20 yards, and I will readily admit that is not my world. She got that from my wife. So my wife loves to run long distances. There's been multiple times she's trained for marathons. She's ran a half marathon. One of the issues, because you have to run so many miles, you have to put in miles after miles after miles, day after day after day. She would eventually have issues with like shin splints in her legs. And then, I don't know, life would happen. She's not actually like making money for this. But I'll never forget. I told this story one time, I think it was around my birthday, but years ago. So I'll keep this second time of telling it a little bit brief, but it was around my birthday. And she gets a call like the night before the Lincoln Marathon. And one of her friends was supposed to run the Lincoln half marathon. It was what she was going to run while everyone else was running the marathon. She's like, hey, I was supposed to run the half marathon tomorrow with one of my friends. You want to run with me? My wife was like, cool. Yeah, I'll go run. She just goes, runs a half marathon on a whim, like it's nothing. So when Trinity runs these miles, which is extended top end speed, that is not for me. Dear God, that is not for me. That is from my wife, who is the long distance runner. And Trinity's like that blend of great top end speed and can sustain it. So that's anti me for sure.
That's crazy.
What, did you ever do anything at track?
No, I mean, I did a little bit of like, just like fun little, like almost like field meet events for like you doing like the sprints around the track and you're meeting people with like a baton. I did a little bit of that and then just sprints across like a 100-yard field.
I get it. Yeah.
Like relays. So yeah, a little bit of that. But
my dad always wanted me to do shot put and javelin, which I actually think I would have been pretty good at, being taller and having a decent amount of strength. But I don't know. I was always playing baseball. I was like, when am I supposed to do that? He's like, just talk to the track coach, walk over there, do those two things, the discus maybe, and just see if you're any good at it. And I just never did. So I don't know. I don't know if I'd be any good at it at all. I did mention this not long ago. At one point, my Wikipedia page said that I was a long jump champ in high school. To be clear, lies, false, lies. Just like when it said I boxed at Wesleyan, like that doesn't even make any sense. So I played football at the University of Nebraska and I boxed at Nebraska Wesleyan. Now I think that got changed finally like years ago, but like so many people would ask me about boxing. And for a long time, I had no idea why they were asking me. And then somebody finally goes, well, it says you boxed at Wesleyan. And so I looked it up and it also said I was a long jump champ in high school. All lies. None of it's true. I could sit here and say, yeah, I was a boxer and a long jump champ. And I was not. I was not even close to those things. But
Riley W chimes in and says, let's run it, Adam. Retired NAIA long jumper here. Anything under 100 yards, I'm game.
I said 20, not 100. Did you not listen to what I said? I said 21 and beyond is not my world. 20 or less. I really like 5, 10 to 15, but I will extend it to 20, my friend. But not 21 or definitely not 100. Definitely not now. That's for sure. All right, man. We got about 3 minutes here. Anything you want to talk about real quick or anything off the text line real quick?
What do we got here?
While you look.
Anybody could add things to Wikipedia. My buddy had me as the 1923 bat boy for the Boston Red Sox. So
I remember when Tom Hannafin came on. He was WWE Monday Night Raw's lead announcer for a long time. Now he's with TNA Wrestling. And I kept Impact Wrestling. He corrected me. He's like, it's Impact. I'm like, well, Wikipedia says TNA. And I was like, you got to get Wikipedia corrected. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to come in here and I could say you're the president of the United States if I wanted. And it would be up there for about 3 days before somebody changed it.
Yeah, before they have people, I think, that go in there and they like double check everything, but not that often. Like, I could probably, because you could pay to like add things to Wikipedia. So I could go on there and put my name as like, I could replace, I don't know. So I could make myself a national champion. Like there's so many things that I could do. If you just pay a little bit of money. Yeah.
The Adam Carriker hosted by Jackson. You're the new host
Adam
of the show.
Yeah, come on. Yeah, exactly.
So it was just announced the Madden cover. Right, Saquon Barkley.
Such a sick cover.
Oh, you don't like this?
No, it's one of the best. It's one of the best covers I've seen.
Okay, I like this. Saquon Barkley, his reverse hurdle, like him jumping over the guy, reverse. I don't know how to describe it. How do you describe it?
It's like a reverse hurdle. He just like
it's right there.
Yeah, he like jumps over. I think In the trailer, they had him jump, like in the game, they had him jumping over like another team, but on the cover, they made it so like you can't see what the team is.
Yeah.
So they're not just, obviously making somebody, whatever on the cover of Madden. But it's such a good cover. Such a good cover. And I hate it because it's an eagle, but such a good cover.
I think it's a sweet cover. Do you believe in like the Madden curse or being on the cover of a video game and the curse? You do. You buy into that?
A little bit. Some people have proved it wrong, but a little bit I kind of do.
I will admit there is a lot. I don't believe in, I don't know. I'm not superstitious. The last time I ever did anything superstitious was I wore the same socks for football and baseball and basketball in high school, mostly because they had gigantic holes in it. And I was a stupid teenager and I thought that was cool, but it really wasn't superstitious.
I've seen like.
By the way, sorry. Not all teenagers are stupid. I was a stupid teenager. Me specifically. Go ahead, Jackson.
I've seen like I know like Antonio Brown made it on the cover of Madden. That's when his downfall started.
That is, yep.
And then I've seen like,
that's a fair point.
Some of them have proved it wrong.
Kind of went.
Gronk kind of fell off.
He did go to the Bucks a couple years later. Won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, true. I mean, Josh Allen kind of proved it wrong, I guess.
Yeah.
He wins he gets thrown on the cover, wins an MVP. So that's that's proving it wrong to that sense. But Saquon was very deserving. It's also an easy one. Cornerbacks, it's like they can go from being how like Lamar Jackson's been on the cover, and then the season after that, he didn't do bad. He just didn't do all that good. But like running back's a safety, but like Christian McCaffrey is not that good of an example of that. He gets on the cover and then injuries hit him once again. So it's like, we'll see what happens to Saquon, who's another guy that has injury history. So we'll see.
Just a quick thought on Saquon. I always loved him at Penn State. He went off in that Rose Bowl as well. And then I always just thought he was just, for lack of a better way of putting it, I was like, man, this dude is just wasting away with the Giants. Like his talents are being wasted. He goes to the Eagles, has a great offensive line, a great team in front of him and around him. And you finally see what this dude is capable of. So I'm glad he's on the cover. It's a sweet cover, as you pointed out. I'm not an Eagles fan. I'm not anti-Eagles. I'm not pro-Eagles. Obviously, Ty Robinson is there. Cam Jurgens is there. So I'm more prone to root for them because of that. I just like Saquon, and I hope he has a big year. Yeah. And I hope the Madden cover curse doesn't hit him. All right, my man. It's been a glorious day. Enjoy the heat. And until next time, go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the ball.